There we go. Mute button. It's so elusive. Five of the top reasons that your business loan got denied. So, look, you may think that your loan has been denied because of your credit quality, or maybe it's your time in business, or maybe it's your lack of revenue. But the reality is, the most loans are denied for reasons you as an entrepreneur would never even think. I didn't know it either. I mean, I literally made my career figuring out the ins and outs of lenders, how lenders think, how they operate, how their computers work, how they underwrite, why they deny people, why they approve people, why they give people the terms they have. I've literally spent my career figuring this out. And today we're going to dive into five of the biggest, most common reasons, and also the most surprising reasons that your loan or your credit line or your credit card has been denied. So if you've been denied for credit financing or not got as much as approved as you wanted to, well, then it's these five reasons. It's one of, if not more, of these five reasons. And you're going to probably walk out of this training and go, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. That was never even a consideration of mine. We're probably going to start with number one. The first one we're going to talk about, you probably never even thought about, was the reason for your denials. But you're going to leave this training and know the five top reasons that loans, credit lines, and credit cards get denied. And most importantly, you're going to know exactly what to do to be able to get approved versus denied. So maybe one of the most important trainings we've ever covered. I got a lot to dive into, so let's get going. All right, so top five reasons for denial. Number one, and I don't want to say number one, two, three, four, five. So let me just say number five. I don't even know why it's the first one I'm covering, because this is the biggest reason. If we look at everything you apply for and why you've been denied, this is the underlying reason for the majority of what is estimated over 50% denials. Over 50%. So if you fix this one thing, you statistically immediately fix the thing that gets half of the people that deny for or apply for credit financing to get denied, like fixing one thing. So what is the one thing? Well, the one thing is fraud. That's the reality. Most loans and applications for credit get denied because the lender's computers think that you are not a legitimate company. Now, you may be going, oh, no, Ty, that's not me. It doesn't apply to me. Yeah, it applies to you. You're making mistakes that are fooling the computers to think that you're not legit when you actually are. And by the way, Mike is in the house from St. Louis. Thanks for coming in. And Janelle Brown, another one of my favorites, coming in from YouTube. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. So look, the reason, think about it like this. You've been susceptible to fraud. I have. People send emails on my behalf to internal people in my company trying to get payments. So many different things, right? I get all the calls about police are going to get called if I don't pay this or pay this. I get those fraud calls too. Imagine being a bank, right? You see the Chase Bank glitch. Imagine being a bank. Like, they are inundated with fraud. They are inundated with these problems. So the very first thing their computers are trained to look for is this application fraud or not? So why are you being perceived as fraudulent when you're not? Well, the answer is congruency. It's really one word. What happens is a lender looks at your application and they say, okay, first check, is this company real? So then they send out their crawlers and they try to validate that the business applying is actually real. And in order for this validation to be successful, they have to find that that company exists and that all the information matches. Now, here's where the problem comes in. If we look at what you and I do when we start a business, we start it, we set up our DUNS, we get our EIN, we set up our entity, and we do all the other stuff that's needed, right? Like, that's basic stuff. I got to build a website. I got to create products. I got to create emails. I mean, there's a million things you got to do to set up a business. So we are way beyond the setup point, weeks into this journey. The problem is that we forget as we change things to go back to the source, the Secretary of State and the IRS, and update it there. So now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, Ty said to get a virtual address. That's the best way to go. I got my virtual address. I updated my website. We're good, right? Hey, I got a new phone number instead of local. Now it's toll free, right? Now I have, this Ty at abccompany.com gets me all these spam emails. I need to change it to info@abccompany.com, right? So we start making changes that make sense for the organization. But here's the problem. We never go back and update any of the things we set up initially. We never go back to IRS and update our information there. We never go to our Secretary of State and update it there. We don't go and update our bank statements. I changed addresses, and it was over a year and a half before I changed my bank statement address, because I don't care. They don't mail me my statements. So the bank doesn't send me anything. So I don't even think about them having the right address. But this is what these computers are looking for. Does this application match Yellow Pages, Secretary of State, Does it match IRS? Does it match websites, social media pages? When is the last time you think about it that you looked at your about information on your company's Facebook page? Like, I don't know about you, but I'll run into that once a year and I'll be like, oh my God, like this is way outdated. We clearly do not do this stuff or present that we do it this way anymore. Then I have to update all the information. Then I'm like, what about the rest of my social media profiles? Do they have outdated info? This happens to us all the time. So what happens is, from a lender's perspective, they pull up your company and application, they see a Secretary of State, the companies match, the names match, but the address is wrong, the website's wrong, the email's wrong. Then they go to your Google business profile, something's wrong there. Then they go to your Facebook page, something's wrong there. And what happens is the computer then comes back and goes, fail. We cannot validate this company exists. We can't take their info and validate it with the IRS Secretary of State because everything doesn't match when we go to do our checks. That process, number one reason for all credit and financing denial. Number one. So all you have to do to fix this is you just have to make sure it is congruent. You have to make sure that you go back to IRS, you go to Secretary of State, you go to social media pages, you go to your website. Right? You go to Yext, you go to anywhere your business is listed, your Google business profile, your Yahoo, your Bing profile, your Yellow Page listings. You go and make sure everyone has your correct information. If this is not the case, that is what will get you denied more times than not. By the way, Janelle, I am fantastic. Let me know in chat how you're doing today as well. And thanks for coming in. King Ducks in a row. King Ducks, I don't know if I've ever seen you in here before. So thanks for coming in and joining us. I appreciate you joining. Okay, so number two reason is just a simple lack of credibility. When you don't pass the sniff test. That's it. You don't pass the sniff test. Lenders' computers are looking to make sure that your business is set up in a way where it is credible, okay? Entrepreneur refers to this as credibility currency. Forbes, Inc., they all have a different name for the exact same thing. They all talk about in their articles the same thing, that one of the most important things for you to get approved for credit and financing is to be credible to lenders, to have credibility currency. Okay. And credibility comes by looking like you're a real legitimate business. Okay. Now you might say, Ty, what do you mean? My business doesn't look non-real. Let me give you an example. SBA refers to a sole proprietorship as somebody, quote unquote, experimenting with an idea. And SBA says that a sole prop is not even a real business. There's somebody experimenting with the idea of a business. This is where you go as a testing ground before you launch a business. But I can tell you in California, it might cost you $700 to set up an LLC or a corporation, and it costs you a tenth of that to set up a sole proprietor. So a lot of people might go an entity route that's cheaper, like in a place like California, excusing the fact that that's not even a real entity from a lender's perspective, that a corporation or an LLC is. So credibility, set up an LLC or corporation, have a separate address for your business, should be your home address, have a license for your business, have a business bank account set up for your business as well. Get your DUNS number, have a toll-free phone number, have your phone number listed in directories online. These are the things they're looking for credibility. So now let's look at where we are in your application process. You apply. Bank computer does its job. Okay, well, company, yep, we checked Secretary of State, IRS. These things match. Everything's good. Company is real. Boop, pass, right? Next thing, is this real, a legitimate company? Okay, look, they got a separate address. It is a commercial address. They got a phone number. It's toll free. We see the business listed in all these places online. There's all these citations pointing back to them. They got social media pages up. They got a professional website. Their email address of the website's info@creditsuite.com. It's not a Gmail address. Oh, look, they submitted a license with the application. They have a business bank account set up. Okay. Oh, pass. Now you've passed the first test. You are a real business and you are set up as a credible, legitimate business. So then that brings us to step 3. Do you have a history of paying your bills on time or do you not? I am not talking about you as an individual. I'm talking about your business. After all, we are talking about your business applying for credit loans or credit lines. So if your business is applying for financing, what track history does your business have of paying its bills? Okay, because if it has no history, they immediately default to your personal credit history. And then is your personal credit history good? Probably not. Because the reality is we're entrepreneurs. So in the beginning stages of our business, our personal credit's all jacked up because we take all kinds of risks to be able to get the business launched. We all know it. Like we've all dealt with almost being in financial checkmate, spending all the money we have to launch our business because we believe in it so much that we're almost willing to bankrupt ourselves. I've come as close as you can to personal bankruptcy because I believe so much in my business that I let it push me that far. We're that way. Our brains are wired that way. So what happens is your business needs to prove that it can pay its bills. And a lender or credit issuer relies on Dun & Bradstreet for this, on Experian for this, on Equifax for this. Because Equifax, D&B, and Experian are the one that tell them, hey, here's the risk of this company. Based on the number of employees they have, based on how they pay their bills, based on how many accounts they have reporting to them, based on the financial data that we have, here's their risk. Here's multiple scores that depict their risk. And here's how they pay their bills. DBT, do they pay beyond terms or do they not? So what's happening is lenders and credit issuers are now coming in and getting your business credit reports to make those decisions. And Equifax and Experian will give you failing business credit reports, even if you have no credit established. So more times than not, they see no credit history or bad credit history. Even when you did nothing wrong, you've got bad scores because you have no credit, because that's a risk. So now all of a sudden, you've got failing business credit reports and scores. And you're asking for 100K, 50K, right? 500K. So now what happens is you got a problem because your business doesn't have a history that's a good history of paying its bills as agreed. So now they're concerned because the business has no history. They don't want to be the first one to lend you money. If your business nobody else has, nobody else has trusted you enough to give you money. You haven't even been able to get a credit card for $10,000. Why would we give you a loan for 100? This is what the bank's computer is trying to figure out right now. Why are you applying for 100 if your credit report doesn't even show you've paid somebody $2,000, right? So it's the same thing. Imagine trying to go get a mortgage for yourself personally if you have an empty credit report. It's impossible. You 100% cannot do it. It is impossible. I don't even think you could be a co-signer on a mortgage if you have no credit history. You can't be. So again, you're trying to apply for a loan when you have no credit history. You run into the same barriers. Maybe you'll get some small credit cards, but you're not going to get lines. You're not going to get loans unless you're personally guaranteeing them, unless it's based on your personal credit quality, unless some of those report on your personal credit reports. So we've got to establish this business credit history because it determines if we get approved or denied, how much we get approved for, and the rates and terms we pay. So even if we get approved, we're going to pay way higher rates in shorter terms and way higher payments we should just because our business credit profile and score is not established. So some things to think about. And Janelle says, hey, I pretty much got stuck in the beginning stages. Had to start over, but oddly enough, managed to get a D&B number. That's great. You can get a DUNS number, but building your credit profile and paydex score requires those accounts to be on there. And Janelle, by the way, I'm going to throw up a guide right now. If you haven't grabbed this, this is our business credit building guide that's been downloaded over 1 million times. It will give you the guidance you need. So Janelle, just scan that or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. That will help you get past that initial part. And King Ducks in a Row says, I really want to be part of your team. Hey, you should apply. We're hiring sales reps right now. So you should actually apply. You can email us info@creditsuite.com. We have a very fancy URL that has all of our job posts that are open. I just don't remember it. Don't tell my HR that. But info@creditsuite.com might get you a job here on the team here, King Ducks in a Row. And MacGyver Preppin says, hey, the camper I am using to start a camper rental business got wrecked first time I rented it. Only one I have. Hey, I've been there before. I was the one that wrecked my RV the first time out, and I got out of the RV rental business because I had somebody wreck my RV as well. So I'm here. Sorry to hear that. MacGyver Preppin. What's interesting is if you're renting it through Outdoorsy RV Share, their insurance should cover all of that for you. So hopefully that can give you a little insight. Outside of that, you know, you can typically get an RV and purchase it with little money down. And there's a program, MacGyver Preppin, that might help you called Credit Line Hybrid. And that program actually can get you access to about 150K that you can actually use as a startup business that you're even able to get as a new business. So I am going to go ahead right now and put that on the screen. You can scan that QR code or go to creditsuite.com/CLH. That might help you there as well. Okay. And Janelle says, hey, is it true that it's against the law to deny anyone their credit? Um, Deny them. Give me that question again. What do you mean it's against the law to deny them their credit? I don't understand your question. So if you're asking me again, I can better explain. And Janelle says, hey, they get around it by your score RIF, right? Awesome. Thank you. And I have an EIN. Okay. So they can't pull your consumer credit report without your permission. In the Fair Credit Reporting Act, this is called permissible purpose. Somebody has to have your written permission to be able to get a copy of your consumer credit report. But the same thing doesn't apply in the business world. So somebody can easily get your business credit report without your permission, but they cannot get your consumer credit report without your permission. So hopefully that gives you some insight there. So again, let's take a look from the beginning and we'll get to number 4. Number 1, they've got fraud concerns. Number 2, you don't look credible. Number 3, you don't have any business credit established. Number 4, you're applying for the wrong freaking loan. And this happens all the time because as a business owner, your job isn't to know the right kind of loans to apply for. That's my job. It's what I do, right? So here's what I mean by this. Think about it like this. There's 4 kinds of loans you can get. Number 1 loan, and I call this the 3 C's, and then I'll show you what the 4th is. Number 1 are loans based on your cash flow. Revenue lending, merchant cash advances, term loans. These all require revenue, consistent revenue that's increasing month after month to get approved. So if you don't have cash flow, you cannot look at any lender that's making lending decisions based on that cash flow. If your bank statements are jacked up, if you have non-sufficient funds, if you're a startup, if you got less than $5,000 a month in revenue, you have to stay away from those kind of loans. Number 2 kind of loan, collateral-based loans, asset-based loans. These are loans based on you having something you can pledge as collateral. Example is that you have stocks and bonds and IRAs and 401k. Maybe you're using equipment. Maybe you're using inventory, physical inventory or e-commerce inventory for that matter. Maybe it's commercial real estate. Maybe it's residential real estate. Maybe it's vehicles, right? So I think it was MacGyver Prepping here that said, hey, I had an RV. RV was the collateral. It was the asset. And they said, I wrecked it. It was wrecked by a renter. If you don't have rental insurance, what do I do to replace it? Well, first of all, rent through RV Share and Outdoorsy, they would insure that. And it would be completely covered if that happens. I know I've had my claim of shares on both ends of that. Just rented an RV 2 months ago, jacked up the awning. That cost me $750 for leaving that thing out in a rainstorm. I've been on both sides of that coin. But the other point of this is that you can use another RV, the asset you're buying as collateral, to go get a loan on that thing with a down payment. So again, real estate, residential, commercial, vehicles. What do you have physically? A cryptocurrency works for these kind of loans. So if you have an asset worth money, then you could typically leverage that to be able to get financing, collateral-based financing. Now, the third option is credit-based financing. And this is either based on consumer credit quality. Credit line hybrid is an example. I've got this pulled up on the screen. Get up to $150,000 in 0% credit lines just based on you having good personal credit or a signer, somebody else around you having good personal credit, right? That's a perfect example. So that's credit-based financing based on consumer credit quality or business credit, right? We can build business credit, become more lendable, and then use that business credit profile and score to get like $10,000 to $50,000 individual limit credit cards. Visa card, MasterCard, Amex, auto financing, credit cards at every store, credit cards at every fuel station. So we can make our approval decisions based on that. Now, the 4th are SBA loans. And this requires the first 3 to all be okay. You have to have cash flow, credit, and collateral to get SBA. So what I'm saying is if you are getting denied, it may be because you're trying to apply for the wrong loan based on you not having the strength needed to get that loan. You have good credit, but you're trying to get a loan based on revenue. You have revenue and bad credit, but you're trying to get a loan or financing based on good credit. You're trying to build business credit, but you haven't built the basics of business credit you need to start getting the $30,000 limit accounts, right? You're trying to get an SBA loan and you don't have these 3 things that you need. So don't go into a bank to get a credit card, a credit line, or a loan unless you have years of tax returns, good personal credit, good business credit, lots of collateral. If you don't have that, don't walk into your bank. Your bank is not the right choice for you. Instead, you want to figure out what your three strengths you have. Are you good in the cash flow department, credit, or collateral? If you say to me, Ty, I'm not good in any of those three, then make your strength, since you don't have one. And making a strength is business credit. By building business credit, you could fund the business. You could create a strength that makes you more fundable. That's the best alternative option if you don't have any of those things that lenders look at. So that is a basic guide on how to find the right kind of financing you can actually get approved for based on your strength, while not applying for the wrong kind of financing that they're looking at a weakness you have where you wouldn't be able to get approved, right? And MacGyver Preppin says, yep, waiting on the insurance. That's one of the reasons I'm watching. Okay, perfect. So that's good, because you never want to be renting RVs if you're not using RV share outdoors or have insurance on them, as you already know. And Mike South says, hey, renter camper on a lot, no driving. Rent camper on a lot, no driving. That's good too. And Mike is saying, hey, there's places you can just have a lot, put the renter there, no driving, no damage there. And that's a good point. Actually, I just gave an example of me staying and messing up an awning with an RV that I rented because I left it out and there was a rainstorm. Well, I can tell you that place is this way. You could buy the lots there, then you could put your renter there, you could put your RV there and just rent it, and it prevents all the driving, which is what causes a lot of the mishaps. So see, Mike is solving MacGyver Preppin's problem here. I love it. Janelle says, thank you for clarifying. Janelle says, I would love to obtain funding to purchase a home healthcare franchise. And again, purchasing a franchise, a little bit tougher because you need cash up front to do it. But a couple ways to do it is, Janelle, you're able to use credit line hybrid with you or somebody else's credit to get approved. So maybe somebody else around you would want to be an investor, but they don't want to do all the work. That's an example. Another example of getting the money you need for franchise is if you have some kind of asset that could be served as collateral, that could work too. You could leverage that asset to get the money you need. You could even come in and use another business you have and any other revenue you have from another business to be able to get in. Those are some possible alternatives. And that brings me to number 5, wrong lender. So look, I have a lot of lenders that lend specifically to people in the marijuana industry. And I've got way more lenders that won't touch the marijuana industry. This is an example of some lenders don't like certain kind of loans, don't like certain kind of borrowers. Some lenders don't like certain kind of collateral. Some lenders don't like certain industries. There's a lot of reasons that you might not be a good fit for a lender and want to go to another lender. So a lot of people ask me about credit card stacking, for example. And I can tell you that I work with a lot of funding sources that do credit card stacking. But I can tell you some of the most common names that I hear about don't do a very good job at it. Really, we used them. We sent customers there. They didn't get as much in approvals. It took them way longer. They're having people sign like weird power of attorneys that they don't necessarily need to sign. There's all this shady kind of weird stuff going on. Then I work with other sources that do it fast, easy, without any of those barriers. So there's a clear difference in lenders that prefer a certain kind of loan or a certain kind of borrower or a certain industry and then don't like others. So that's the other problem you may be having is maybe you did find the right kind of loan product. Maybe you have cash flow and you're applying for cash flow financing. You got that right. But maybe you're in an industry like a restaurant and you're applying with a lender that doesn't like restaurants because restaurants are like super high risk. Then you get denied and you say, I can't get funding. Well, you can get funding. You just applied at the wrong lender. You want to look at a lender that specializes in restaurant financing and you would have been just fine and got approved. So again, choosing the wrong product can get you denied. Finding the right product like revenue lending or cash flow financing or credit line hybrid based on credit or asset-based lending program based on assets. But if you don't have the right lender, then that becomes the problem. So those are the 5 most common reasons that you will get denied. Here's the fantastic news. These are all really easy to fix. Like none of these things are things that you cannot fix. I didn't tell you any of the 5 that you're like, I'm screwed now. I can't get that because I can't fix that problem. You can fix all of these. It doesn't even take a lot of time to fix these things. And when you do fix them, then that's what opens up the door for you getting basically unlimited capital because now you've unlocked the formula to actually be able to succeed. And Janelle says, I have a rental at a 55 plus RV park. See that? And MacGyver, I don't know if you look what's going on here. Everybody's solving your problems here. I'm loving this. Janelle says RV parks are one of those cases. And Donnie says, I have about 50K in cash windfall and bad personal credit and want to leverage it to get business credit with no PG. What are some good companies to use cash and bad credit to kind of speed up the process? Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to pull up really quick, Donnie, our guide that'll map out exactly how to do it. All you have to do is scan this or go to creditsuite.com/EIN, and that will give you what you need. The short answer is I would start with CEO Creative. I would start with Uline. I would start with Granger as your first starter trade lines. From that, I can't tell you. And I can't tell you because I don't know what you need. From there, you should be able to go to retailers and buy whatever it is that you need. But I don't know if you're starting a lawnmower business where what you need is lawnmowers, or you're starting a credit repair business where what you need is computers and printers. I don't know what you need. Because if you're buying computers or printers, then I'd go get credit at Best Buy. If you're buying lawnmowers, then I'd go get credit at John Deere. Right? I can get credit at either of those places. But after you build your initial business credit, then the next sources you get are based on what you really need. The guide I just gave you will help you. Just scan the QR code or go to creditsuite.com/EIN. And by the way, Donnie, Janelle loves your question. So I'm even going to pull it up on the screen here because it seems to be like a popular question everybody loves. So there we go. And MacGyver Prep says, oh, dang, I was reading. Okay, so perfect. Donnie says, thank you. So Donnie, thank you very much for your question. I appreciate it. So there you have it. Now we have just discovered the 5 most common reasons for loan denial. Number 1, they think it's fraud because your application data doesn't match Secretary of State, IRS, and everywhere else it's listed. You got to do those checks to make sure it's lined up and that everything is congruent. Number 2, you lack credibility. You got to have a separate address, phone number, email address for the business, professional website, business license, business bank account. That will help you look credible. Number 3, you don't have any business credit. You're trying to get business financing with no credit. That's not going to work. It's a bad combo. It doesn't work in the consumer side, doesn't work on the business side. Build business credit. I threw up a guide that's a step-by-step checklist and guide that teaches you how to do it. Been downloaded over 1 million times. Literally the most downloaded guide that ever existed in the business credit industry. Not exaggerating. That's it. Nobody's been downloaded over 1 million times before. So this will map out for you on how to build the business credit. Number 4, wrong loan program. You're trying to apply for a loan when you don't have the strength it requires. There's 3 strengths lenders look at: cash flow, credit, collateral. You need one of those to go to one of those kind of lenders. You need all 3 to go to a bank. If you don't have all 3, don't go to a bank. If you don't have one of those, if you have one but you don't have the other, then go to a lender that does that specialty, revenue, cash flow, and they don't look at other things like credit. Okay, if you don't have any of those, you need to build business credit. It will give you access to near unlimited access to credit to fund the business without needing any of those 3. And number 5, you got the wrong lender. You found the right loan program, but the lender doesn't like you. They don't like your industry. They don't like your financials. There's things about you they don't like, but another lender will easily approve that deal. So you got to make sure you find the right lender. By the way, number 4 and 5, let us know if we can help you. At Credit Suite, we never charge you a dime of money to go to work to get you financing with lenders. All you can do is you can actually come in and talk to us or be able to get financing right here. And we can talk to you more about being able to get financing for your business. And that way, if you qualify, it's a cost you. We don't charge you any money. The lenders charge you rates and fees, and we negotiate that for you. But we can literally go find the right loan program and the right lender for you with $0 cost to you. So if we can help you along the way, schedule a finance assessment. We'd be more than happy to help you. So that being said, now I'm going to wrap up. There you have it. Those are the 5 most common reasons for loan denial. I told you up front, a lot of them you probably would not have thought about. So hopefully this helped you discover some things you didn't know. Where do we go? Just too many. King Duck says, hey, I just sent an email to join the sales team. Awesome. King Duck, they are going to, also, you're going to want a resume, and they'll send you the information back on where to apply. Donnie says, I want to get back into trucking and understand I need general name and NAICS. Yeah. Transportation, there's about 30 subcategories of transportation. So what you want to do is you want to go to NAICS.com, NAICS.com, put in transportation, find the best description for you. You should be fine with that because trucking is not really seen as a high-risk industry. And MacGyver says, I called a park and they wouldn't let me park it and rent it. Sometimes that's the case, but keep in mind, MacGyver prepping with your RV, there's plenty of others that do. Some will not let you put it there and rent it. Some will. So you just want to find the right ones that will actually let you do that. So for example, Disney. Disney does it. Like Disney's RV park outside of Orlando, they let you put an RV there and rent it. So there's plenty of, and Disney's pretty strict, as you can imagine. So there's plenty of RV parks that will, even if that one won't. Donnie says, so the ultimate goal would, I guess, be able to get funding to be able to get vehicle and supply financing. I'm also signing up for your program. I would like to create 2 businesses using Credit Suite. Well, Donnie, we can help you with that. And obviously, we'd be honored to have you as a client. The other thing to keep in mind is that both of what you said, supply financing and vehicles, you can use business credit for. Business credit, just by building business credit within, very short period of time, you're able to get credit you need to fund the business, start getting supplies, and start figuring those things out 30 days in. Takes our clients about 4 months to get to auto financing. And one of our clients has got $350,000 in auto financing. One of our other ones got like $100,000 in auto financing. So it's not uncommon to be able to get to 6 figures in financing you can use for vehicles as well. Of course, our program will help you get there faster. We'd be honored to have you as a client. And so that being said, Janelle also says, what would you do if I needed to help a good friend of mine who wants to start his own boat mechanic business and that already has clientele and is one of maybe 4 in Yuma? So what would I do if I wanted to? Well, in that case, I'd start getting them anything you can on business credit building. And here's why. Because ultimately, if you're looking at a boat mechanic business, right, let's think about this. A boat mechanic business, you're talking about a lift, you're talking about a shop. Business credit can't help you there. But everything else, business credit can help you. 100% of the tools that he is using or she is using, you could get at Northern Tool, you could get at Home Depot, you can get at Lowe's. You get the idea. So the best thing you could do for that friend is turn them on to business credit building, because business credit would pay for all the stuff that he or she needs to actually do the repairs and maintenance on the boats. And he or she can get it right away. Like it doesn't take long if you even guide them to that guide at creditsuite.com/EIN to be able to cover a lot of that credit and expenses. So hopefully that helps you there. And Janelle says, startup and inventory. Credit Line Hybrid is a great program for startup. Inventory, you should know that if you have 150,000 in sales in inventory, you never need to worry about inventory financing again. There's financing out there you can get through a place called Kick Further. Kick Further is a crowdfunding platform for inventory, and it's for e-commerce inventory. Now, Janelle, you're going into healthcare space, but I just wanted to throw this out there that there's multiple lenders out there that will do inventory financing, including Kick Further, who does 100% of the financing you need for e-commerce inventory. So there's a lot of options out there based on your kind of inventory to be able to get that inventory for you. If you want to talk more, creditsuite.com, give us a call, send us an email. We could talk to you more about that based on the specific industry you're in. I think, Janelle, you said you're jumping into healthcare. And Donnie says, hey, well, that's great, Ty. Thanks. I appreciate you. And thanks for your time. You got it, Donnie. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up. I have done all 5 of these most common reasons your loan will get denied. I've done a recap of these as well. I really appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the questions, the engagement. Some of you I've not seen before. MacGyver Prepping, I've seen you in here before. Donnie, I don't know if I've seen you in here. It's been a while. Janelle, I think it's been a while since I've seen you in here as well. King Ducks in a Row. Don't know if I've seen you in here before. So for those that have just coming in, I really appreciate you coming in, engaging your questions, and hopefully you walk out of this with good answers. And Donnie says, is Credit Strong effective? Yeah, Credit Strong is a good account for building business credit. They give you like a high limit account you can put on your business credit reports. That's a really good account. We recommend Credit Strong for our clients. I like them. I'm a big fan. I've talked to their CEO too. Really smart guy. Janelle, you're amazing. Thank you. Can you drop links, please? So Janelle, I think I will drop the link right now into chat for the EIN guide and credit. I'll drop it in here, creditsuite.com/EIN. And this is the link that you are actually going to need here. And you can get that link right there and use that link to be able to grab that EIN guide. Again, it's at creditsuite.com/EIN if we wrap up before we have a chance to grab that link. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the engagement. If you got value, like and subscribe. And every Tuesday and Thursday, we're here live to make sure that we cover an important topic like this and then answer all your questions. So I'd love to see you back. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.